Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We're here today for the Education, Environment, Sustainability Committee meeting. Today is July 10th, 2024 at 3:06 p.m. Can I have a roll call?
And just as a reminder to all who are in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Ms. Simon.
Here.
Ms. Stevens. Ms. Stevens is absent. Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is absent. Mr. Shrine.
Here.
Ms. Conwell. There's a quorum. Also like the record to reflect that Councilman Miller is in attendance.
Okay, thank you. Any public comment?
No, Madam Chair, no one is signed in.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from June 12th?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes adopted. So we have a couple matters referred to committee resolutions. Can I have the first one read, please?
Resolution number 2024-0226, awarding a total sum not to exceed $10,000 to Women of God Outreach Ministries for the Socks for Souls project from the District 9 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
And who's here to speak to this? You want to come up?
Excuse me, I'm sorry, push the button, make sure the green light comes on.
Okay. Good day. My name is Dana Anderson, and I am the founder of the Women of God Outreach Ministries organization. We've been established since 2009. Our mission is to help encourage and restore the lives of women as they transition in life and back into society. So we help remove barriers for the woman and the family, addressing the needs that they may have. We do a lot of outreach. We help provide life skills development and resources in this organization. We partner with women's centers. We just give back. And so one of the things we do, we have a lot of outreach. We help provide monies for financial assistance for these families and these women, I'm so sorry. And one of the things that we do, we have the Socks for the Soul event, and we do this every year. This funding would allow us to do this on a bigger scale. We will be able to provide more for families, and not only just provide socks, we will be able to give outerwear, school supplies, book bags, seasonal outwear. So this funding will allow us to take it to another scale. We do this, as I stated, every year, and we do it in different locations. And so we're able to do this now for 200 plus families if we get this funding. We have served over 500 families, not just with the Socks for Souls, but we do provide the food and the clothing and other essential needs that they may have. And so I would really appreciate and be grateful if you guys would say that it was very possible for us to have this funding to move forward.
Thank you. Questions?
I don't have questions, but I did, to my colleagues, participate some years back, and it probably was before COVID, I don't remember, in helping this organization with it was COVID, helping them with toiletries and things for Ministries 25 that came from grants from Cincinnati. So we were given a lot of pallets of toiletries and masks and all the things that were needed during the COVID time. And so I participated in one of their events and gave some of those items for them to, at their Socks for Soul. Participated one time, so it was a lot of resources that she brought together to give to the family. So advocate.
Thank you.
Committee members first. Nothing? All right. Councilman Miller?
Thank you. Just one question. You said that the people you're helping are transitioning. Are they transitioning out of incarceration? Are they transitioning out of poverty? Are they transitioning out of foster care? What kind of transitions are
All of the above.
the above?
All of
Okay.
the above, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. So why is this called Socks for the Souls?
Because Years ago, I noticed, because I've always been involved in the community and in the school system, and I noticed that children were coming to school with no socks on in the cold weather. And so it just touched my heart so that I felt that we needed to do something for these children to have warm feet when they're out in the cold weather. And so when a child is missing some of those things in their lives, when they get into school, they can't function. They're so busy trying to get warm. So that's why we started that.
So what were you doing in the school?
I was a PTO president. And so but I've always been involved in the schools, even when my children were in school.
In
so.
Maple?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great. All right. Any other questions?
I think she moves her Socks for the Soul.
It's all around. It
Yes,
goes all
it's
around.
always-
And this
it's-
year
It's
with,
not in any one specific area, so it's
Right.
moved around the county.
Oh, I was just wondering about your
oh, okay.
school, were you PTO at
Yes.
Maple? That's all.
And when will your next Socks for Souls?
So we're looking at September 14th, and Councilwoman Meredith Turner, we will be doing it in District 9 in the Lee Harvard area at the community center.
Well, we have some Richmond Heights folks in the audience, so maybe we can connect with them at some point.
Absolutely, we would love to do that.
All right. So do I have a motion for this resolution?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So this resolution will be read 3 times, so it will be read one more time for second reading at council and then a third time for approval. So there'll be a few weeks until it actually passes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
we'll recommend that it passes, but it will be 3 readings.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Appreciate
Thank
that.
you. Good to
Thank
see you.
Thank you.
July 30th. Okay, 2024-0243, say yes to education.
Resolution number 2024-0243, submitting a grant agreement among Say Yes Cleveland and College Now Greater Cleveland in the amount not to exceed $1,600,000 for administration and fiscal agent services for the Say Yes Cleveland program.
Good afternoon. Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services. Again, this is a grant agreement with College Now as the fiscal agent for the Say Yes Cleveland program for 1 year in the amount of $1,600,000. Under this grant agreement, Say Yes will continue their mission activities, which include providing scholarships for CMSD and partner schools, partner school graduates up to the full value tuition to attend a 4-year or 2-year institution or accredited training program, and to provide family support specialists in all CMSD and partner charter schools to engage children and parents to coordinate and connect them to services that help overcome barriers to success. We have Jackie Fletcher, the Director of Children and Family Services, and Diane Downing from her team, who would like to speak in support of this grant agreement and program, and Alinka Winslet from College Now, who serves as the fiscal agent for this program. Jackie?
Thanks, Marcos. Jacqueline Fletcher, Division of Children and Family Services, here on behalf of Director David Merriman, who's out on vacation, Department of Health and Human Services. So briefly, I just wanted to share with the committee just some updates, brief updates around the work that we've been doing to partner with Say Yes, especially during this last academic year, just really trying to expand access to the resources and services that all of our kids need, especially at this time. Really just highlighting, we've been able to host a number of joint presentations within the Division of Children and Family Services, just making sure that all of my staff, all of our staff, across our child serving systems understand the roles and responsibilities across the board, reviewing and updating our referral process. We've actually added the Say Yes referral to our universal referral process just to make sure those referrals are increasing and going a little bit more seamless, walking through the service continuum just to make sure that everyone understands what's available for kids and families beyond that school setting. And I am very happy to say this past April, which is Child Abuse Prevention Month, Say Yes organized a convening of the various collective partners that we all work with, just to give everyone an opportunity to come together, talk about the needs of our kids and our families, better understand all of our roles, like I mentioned, as well as to, again, build better collaboration. So we're working to find ways to really push these services upstream to make sure we're doing those preventative supports and putting those in place. So I'm excited to find some additional ways, especially coming up in this next school year, to better, sort of reinforce the value and the mission we all have to keep our kids safe, right? To make sure we know where wellness is one of our priorities, as well as decrease the number of kids who are coming into care. Again, so working on those preventative measures and efforts. And so just wanted to share that with the committee. But I'll look at Diane or anyone from your team if you want to add something to that.
Thank you, Director. I'm Diane Downing. I'm the Executive Director of Say Yes Cleveland, and I really appreciate the opportunity to appear before you today. I want you to know that with me is Sharice Ryan, who is the Director of Student and Family Supports, and Bobby Jordan, who is our Family Support Specialist at the Cleveland School of Architecture and Design. Alenka Winslet was identified earlier. She is the COO at College Now and serves as our fiscal agent. So certainly I'm here to support the legislation of $1.6 million from the County Health and Human Services funds to support our family support specialists in the next school year. And as you know, Say Yes provides two benefits to Cleveland's children. One is college tuition scholarships for college or career training for every eligible high school graduate, and support services for all students and their families from pre-K through 12th grade to help students stay on track to enable them to fully use their Say Yes scholarship. Since 2019, 3,400 CMSD and partner charter school graduates have enrolled in a college or career training program with a Say Yes scholarship. We've had more than 300 graduates, and this year we had 1,700 Say Yes enrolled scholars. They are supported, again, by our family support specialists before they graduate from high school, and the family support specialist serves as a crucial link in this program, getting students and families the services they need. This year, our family support specialists made more than 15,000 individual referrals for services and logged more than 60,000 case notes. These interdependent parts of Say Yes Cleveland, the scholarships and the support services, are funded separately from different sources. Our scholarships are funded through local private sector contributions from foundations, business, and individuals. To date, we have raised $106 million in scholarships for our students, and this will provide scholarships for over 25 years. But these funds can only be used for scholarships. Our Say Yes Family Support Specialists are funded through the contribution efforts by our public partners, particularly Cuyahoga County, CMSD, partner charter schools, and the state of Ohio. For the coming school year, CMSD and our charter schools are providing $3.3 million for their share. Additionally, we have secured a $4.5 million TANF grant from the state of Ohio. And we are here today to ask County Council to approve this legislation for $1.6 million from county funds. For the last 10 months, we've been working with Cuyahoga County, CMSD, the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services, the Poverty Center, and a national consultant to conduct the formal application process needed to have a portion of our preventive services funds authorized through the federal Title IV-E funds. We expect this application process to conclude by January of '25, and we are encouraged about the ultimate success of the process. We've just completed our 5th school year. We wouldn't be here today without the partnerships and commitment of Cuyahoga County. The county's funding of our 105 family support specialists has made our support services possible. And over the past 5 years, we have seen just how crucial these services are to our students and their families. We are there to help youth and families avert the need for protective custody and service at the county. We want to intervene early in the challenges that students and families face. As Jackie mentioned, we've been working closely with the county's Department of Children and Family Services to ensure that our practices are in sync and that we are doing everything we can to support their work. I want to thank you again, Chairperson Simon, and the members of the committee, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions? I have questions, but committee members, nothing? Do you want to ask something, Dale?
I have questions, but I suggest maybe you would go first, and then I'll be happy to follow.
Well, I have several questions. Obviously, we're here since we last met regarding the 4D funding and the lack thereof. And so I really just need a up-to-date on what happened with that, how far we're going to go with the funding we have now for the support specialists. And those are my questions, but go ahead, Councilman Miller, because mine might be more involved.
Okay, so my first question is the 1.6 million that's in this legislation. Is that the only support that Say Yes, that Cuyahoga County is providing to Say Yes during the coming year, or are there other aspects that we're helping to fund?
The 1.6, Councilman, is the only funding that Cuyahoga County is providing to Say Yes in this coming year.
Okay. And it says in the resolution that it's to provide administrative and fiscal agent services. In addition to administration and fiscal agent services, does this money also pay for the direct services being performed by the family support specialists?
Madam Chair, to the councilman, yes.
Okay. And does Say Yes have a sustainable funding model going forward, or is that still being worked on?
Madam Chair, to the councilman, the allocations that I cited are annual allocations. So we do look to our public partners to fund the family support specialists on an annual basis. The scholarship fund is separate and will provide what we promised when Say Yes launched, that is tuition scholarships over 25 years, more than 25 years. But the family support specialists seek their funding for salaries and benefits on an annual basis.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So whatever happened with the 4D funding since we last spoke, which has been over, what, about a year, when you were going to see if you could get that from the state? Did anything pan out from 4D?
Madam Chair, it's Title 4E.
4E, sorry.
Funding. So the process there is a somewhat lengthy analysis and application process. So we embarked with a consultant called the Public Consulting Group out of Boston in partnership with the Poverty Center at CASE to begin an analysis of our family support specialist program. And we began that last August. So we are about almost a year in. And that was the reference I made to the completion of the application by the end of this year, January of '25. So we did take the concerns that the county council expressed very seriously, but the process is a somewhat long process to analyze the program, go back over several years of data, and in that we've been assisted by Cuyahoga County Department of Children and Family Services, and as I said, we have contracted with the Poverty Center and the Public Consulting Group to do this analysis. We are almost done now, and we will be proceeding. I should say, too, that the Gund Foundation funded this process, this review, exploration, and application process, so that none of our administrative funds were used to do this.
And how much was that grant from GUN to fund this process?
$200,000.
And you're almost done with the process,
Madam Chair, yes, we are.
and when do you expect to hear back?
Well, we need to apply, and so we will be applying in either December or January.
And what's their turnaround time?
That is not specific, but it could go several months.
And to whom are you applying?
We are applying to the federal government.
Okay.
And then the money flows from the federal government to the state, and then as a reimbursement process to the county, similar to the Title IV funds that the county gets right now for children in custody.
Can't the state make a decision itself about whether they can expand the use of these funds, or are they saying that they're federally restricted, or are they
Madam Chair, they are federally restricted.
totally restricted? So why then at the beginning of this did we think the money would be coming? Was there was a change, right? Or we thought the feds allowed it when we embarked on this?
Yeah, Madam Chair, again, I'm sorry. I began my tenure in 2019, and my understanding is that this was a conversation prior to my starting. When I began my tenure, my understanding was that these funds would be available, but then in 2022, when I appeared before you, I found out that that was not the case. So then we have embarked first to get TANF money to fill the gap, and then to process the application.
Okay. That's fair. I have a concern, obviously, of sustaining this, the specialists, and it seems like the scholarship fund is, heavily funded by the private sector foundations. Why can't these requests for funds to the foundations be able to be used for these specialists? Because there's a huge gap in that funding.
Madam Chair, the model, the Say Yes model that was embraced and endorsed by the community, again, prior to my beginning my tenure, but was that the private sector would make contributions to the scholarship fund, private sector, foundations, wealthy individuals, and that the public sector would supply the funding for the family support specialists. And that was the model that was embraced in other Say Yes cities, and that was accepted and embraced here.
Well, you weren't here, and I was here, and the reason we adopted and approved this is because we thought we were going to have the funding coming through the state to cover most of this expense. And so we're in a position now where the county cannot provide that funding level. This is flat funding, basically, from the last budget. We're never going to be able to close that gap. But we all had this premise that we would be getting this federal through the state funding, and this model was established and adopted because of that premise. But now that is turned out not to be correct, why can't the model be changed by the board of Say Yes?
Madam Chair, there is a scholarship board and an operating committee, so there are two sides to it. But I would say to you that we are in the process of filling the gap through the application for Title IV Preventive Services funding. That is the $4.5 million that was pointed out to me and others that in the original model was to come from Title IV preventive service money that was not approved for the county to apply for. So we took your charge to us very seriously, and we have engaged the right people to go forward and get this approval so that there won't be a gap. But we are not in any way asking for additional HHS
Yeah, I
money.
understand that. I just, when I looked at what we envisioned that did not come to pass, maybe there's a need for change, but we'll wait to see what happens. You're encouraging everybody to wait to get feedback if you're going to be approved for this additional funding. And then you'll know how to proceed from there.
Madam Chair, that is correct.
Okay. And right now, the money that I saw the budget, Ohio budget, they approved 4.5. When does this funding, how long is it going to last? The current funding, once this committee approves this, which I think we will, how long will that allow you to have the support specialists in the schools?
So with the three components, the CMSD and partnering charter funds, the TANF funds, and the county funds, if approved, will fund us from July 1st of this year, of 2024, through June 30th of 2025.
And you hope before June 2025, you'll hear back from federal,
Madam Chair, yes.
hopefully. Okay. So you're good for a year as we sit here.
Yes, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
Question from Councilman Schron.
The $200K from the federal government, what percentage of your total budget does that make up, if it should be come to you?
Madam Chair, to the councilman, I referenced $200,000 as a grant
Right.
from the Gund Foundation so that we could employ the Poverty Center and the Public Consulting Group and get the application done for our Title IV-E preventive services.
Okay, the 200,000 that comes from the GUND. And then
Madam
the Fe-
Chair, to the councilman, yes.
And then the Fed is how much that you're looking for in the
We
first
would-
year?
Madam Chair, to the councilman, we would look to achieve approval for our Title IV-E preventive services application to be able to present reimbursement request for up to $4.5 million.
Okay, in the event that that is not successful, what does that do to your structure?
Madam Chair, to the councilman, we would have to look at our structure and see what alternatives there might be.
And as you stand here today, what do you see those alternative potentially could be?
Madam Chair, to the councilman, I really haven't explored that at this point.
But that kind of a number is obviously going to be a serious impact on your budgets if it should not materialize.
Madam Chair, to the councilman, I agree.
Yeah. Thank you.
Councilwoman Conwell.
Through the chair to Director Fletcher. When this started last year, we were finding out that the family support specialists, many of our county director or caseworkers were going over to be a family support specialist at Say Yes. How has that kind of righted itself, so to speak?
I do believe that's, it's been corrected. I will just speak to, I haven't seen any of that since I've been at the helm, and I am happy to say that at last check, I believe it was Monday, we had 18 vacancies at DCFS, which is something to applaud, and I do have about 30 candidates scheduled to start in my August class. So again, we haven't seen much of that, but we are really in support of the application that's in process or being developed. And so, we're really supportive, and hopefully that will go through and be supported as well.
Good question. Councilwoman. Did the salaries meet each other? Is this what's happened? Because Say Yes specialists were getting paid better. Did we correct that?
So with our salary increase, I believe that was the end of '22, going into '23. And then we're seeing increases annually for those starting positions. That's been a game changer. So they are starting at, I believe, over $27 an hour for our frontline workers. And I think that's just been, so thank you for your support on that, but that's been tremendous.
I mean, that's the key.
That is,
Yep.
absolutely.
It was just frustrating to this committee to see that our dollars from the county were being shifted to Say Yes, and we couldn't pay our own workers, and that made completely no sense to divest here and then lose a lot of our core mission. So if that's getting corrected, I appreciate the question and the answer. Okay, so I hope, you could report back to us to let us know how this application process winds up.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Before I ask for a vote, I'm going to ask if Council President Bobby Jordan wants to come up. He's a support specialist at the architecture school. Do you have anything to say, or you just were here in the audience? I'm interested in that school, so we'll talk later that you're in there. Okay, so yeah, I can make a motion to approve 2024-0243 with a recommendation of passage, and we're going to go with the 3 readings. Is that okay?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If I
Good
could
luck.
have my name added.
Yeah, I'll add my name.
Madam
Okay.
Madam
Dale Miller wants
Chair,
to
I
add
would
his
like
name?
my name added as
Okay.
well. Thank you.
All right. Next item, 2024-0244.
Resolution number 2024-0244, authorizing an amendment to a master contract with various providers for the Comprehensive Case Management Employment Program, Employment Education and Training Services for Young Adults.
Good afternoon again. Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services on behalf of Cuyahoga Jobs and Family Services. This again is an amendment to a master contract for the Summer Youth Employment Program. Annually, we get a notice of an additional TANF funds to be used for the Summer Youth Employment Program, and we provide it to YOU during the summer months for the program. This program seeks to provide youth with comprehensive, high-quality services that help them escape poverty by making progress on a career pathway to sustainable employment, including attaining and retaining paid employment at good wages, meaningful work experiences, attainment of credentials for in-demand occupations, educational advancement, and the development of transferable soft skills, critical thinking, and self-advocacy. This should be the last amendment to this contract. We did issue a new RFP earlier this year, and we are in the process of making final award determinations. We do have Paul Bounds here, Program Administrator for Cuyahoga Jobs and Family Services, and Eric Dillenbeck from YOU, who can answer any program-related questions.
Okay. Any questions? Councilman Miller?
Why is Verge listed but no money?
Because this is a master services contract, so both of them are on the master contract, but the dollars are only going to YOU.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Miller, you've not been part of this committee, but Verge originally had an allocation and then they shifted, right? And so now they're being dropped off? I mean,
No, they're still part of this contract. They do have an allocation. This new money-
Originally,
right.
right.
Yeah, they still are providing services. These dollars are going only to YOU. So because of that, we have to show that there are no additional dollars going to Verge.
I understand. Why isn't Verge getting any additional funding and it's all going to YOU?
We'll have to bring up Paul Bounds, who would better answer that question.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Council. How are you?
afternoon.
Paul Bounds, Deputy Administrator, JFS. The primary reason is that when we awarded the 2 contracts, Verge was specifically designed and designated to work with the older population, and YOU has contracted to work with the younger population. So this additional earmark we received from OFA, Office of Family Assistance, is only specific for the in-school youth. So we had to only award it to the in-school provider.
Okay, that answers that. Thank you. Okay. No other questions? I can make a motion. We're good with time, three readings. You got it in on time. Thank you for the amendment. I make a motion to approve 2024-0244.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, 2024-0248.
Resolution number 2024-0248, awarding a total sum not to exceed $10,000 to Shine for the Shine Girls Program from the District 9 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This is esteemed committee and county members and to the chair. My name is Danita Harris, and I am the founder of Shine. We are a nonprofit 501c3 organization founded in 2016. This is my fellow mentor, Jonathan Collins, who is with me today in support of us, speaking to you about something that I'm very passionate about. What you have in front of you are packets of the children of the Shine Mentoring Program. I started Shine in 2016, and it started out as an organization that was helping hurting women, where I meet with women once a month. We're a 501c3 who gave back to other nonprofits who are helping hurting women and children. In 2018, I started a mentoring program called Shine Girls, and we were at the Dyke School of the Arts, and we mentor 4th through 8th grade girls. In 2022, we started Shine Brothers under the direction of former NFL player Josh Cribbs, because while I was at Wilbur Wright Elementary School, we noticed that there was a problem with the boys. And in the CMSD, they have a hard time getting a mentoring program that is consistent. So the Shine Mentoring Program, we adopt a school for an entire year. We have about 25 girls, 25 boys. The school selects the children, and we are there every week. We go in with a curriculum for the girls and for the boys. Why is something like this needed? I want you to hear the voices of the children. From Miles Elementary School, a girl said, "Before the Shine Mentoring Program, I felt destroyed. After the program, I felt strong and determined to do anything that I put my mind to. Before the program, I had no confidence. I wasn't proud of myself. I felt like a failure. After completing the program, I feel better about myself. I'm working better with relationships and friends." You'll hear from boys on these surveys. They say the program made me have better confidence. I loved how you guys talked about financial issues and health. Before the program, I was neutral. After the program, the child said, "I felt great." These are some comments from students who have gone through the program. Josh Cribbs and myself and members like Jonathan as mentors, we go in. And this is something that I'm passionate about outside of being a broadcast journalist in this community. I've committed myself to the Cleveland Metropolitan School District because there is a need for our children to have hope. SHINE is an acronym for our students, and it stands for S, I am special. H, I will be helpful to those in need. I will influence my peers to do the right thing. N, I am needed in my community. And E, I will excel in my education through hard work and discipline because I am a student who shines. I've been able to bring in guest speakers, Mayor Bibb, State Supreme Court Justice Melody Stewart, financial people who seem to have a great way with our children. And believe it or not, the surveys, they always say they love learning about money and how to budget and how to save. We take field trips. We took them to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and a lot of our students in Cleveland have never been to the Rock Hall, and believe it or not, a lot of our students have never seen Lake Erie. We took them to the City Club, where they participated in a youth program on the impact that violence has on young minds, where our Cleveland students could integrate with other students in the suburbs and talk about what they feel about violence and crime. We were able to take them to United Negro College Fund Luncheon, because I was the MC and it's the mayor's luncheon, and a lot of our students have never heard of a HBCU. They don't know that UNCF funds are available. So why is Shine important? Because I want to expand what they know. I want to expose them to different experiences, to give them hope that they can have a bright future, because our children in Cleveland lack hope. They have terrible home lives, and when you come to Shine, they'll tell you in these surveys they feel safe, they feel open. We have discussions about relationships. I bring in therapists. I bring in people in the community so they can see what type of careers are available. But the main thing we give our children is that we listen to them, we care for them, we nurture them, and they know that it's someone that cares, and that Josh Cribbs and myself will be there every week. Every week, we don't miss a week. Our team is there. The reason why we're here today is because it takes money to keep this program going. I am about to go into my 6th school, Miles Park Elementary, in the fall. And a lot of the money that we've been using to transport, to feed, to buy the supplies for the mentoring program sometimes comes out of my own pocket. And we've had to dip into money that I have for the Shine Women, and now we also have Shine Men. So I really would like for our kids to have resources so that we can take them different places. They love going to field trips, but these things cost money. When we take them to the Rock Hall, I don't want them to bring a bag lunch. Let's sit down in the Rock Hall and let's enjoy lunch catered by them. I take them to hotels when we have our Shine anniversary, because a lot of them have never been in a hotel and they don't know what it means. Miss Danita, do you mean I can get up and get more food from a buffet? Because a lot of our children, all they order by is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, because all they know is fast food and value meals. So Shine is something that I take my time to do because I believe in the children in this county, and I believe that I have something to give them. I believe into whom much is given, much is required, and it is nothing of me to give my time to help a child have hope and to dream and to be smart about life. And that is what Shine is all about, because they are special and they can be helpful. They are influential, they are needed, and they do excel through hard work and discipline in their education. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Guess you said it all.
Wow. Thank you
So I was going to ask specifically what the money was used for, and you said that.
Yeah.
You answered.
Thank you.
So 6th school, good to see you, and we appreciate this work. It matters, every child. So
Thank you.
we will read this 3 times, you heard. And I can make a motion to move this out of committee.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Okay,
Keep going.
Thank
Yeah,
you
good
very-
luck. Thank
you
you.
so much for your support. Thank you.
thank you. Next item, the code, Channel 3.
Ordinance number 2024-0007, amending 80401C of the Cuyahoga County Code to modify the scholarship provisions of Component 2 of the Educational Assistance Program.
Good afternoon, Michael King, council staff. As you may recall, College Now came before this committee about a month ago to renew its contract with the county to administer the their phase of the county's educational assistance program. During the committee, the representatives from College Now expressed their interest in increasing the annual per student scholarship from $1,750 to $2,000. And while the committee didn't seem to raise any concerns at that time in finalizing the contract, we identified that this change actually requires an amendment to the county code, which caps the annual scholarship at $1,750. So this ordinance basically just fixes that issue. It would increase the maximum scholarship to $2,000 and gives council the flexibility to amend that maximum cap via resolution in the future as this contract comes up for renewal. So we can do it all in one. Note, this won't affect the total amount awarded to College Now for this biennial budget, and it won't require any contract amendment. We included language in the contract that gives them flexibility depending on how council proceeds with this ordinance. And of course, representatives from College Now are in attendance if you have any questions about the scholarship program.
Okay,
So through the chair to Mike King, so what you're stating is, so if we should move this ordinance, the code will no longer have a specific dollar amount?
It will
It will be flexible, or will it still have the new dollar amount?
It will have the 2,000. It changes the maximum to 2,000, but then it says or other maximum amount specified for a particular student cohort by resolution. So if in future years council wants to establish a different maximum, you can do that via the resolution as the contract comes up for
Instead of the
renewal moving
ordinance
forward.
change.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it provides additional flexibility, so we don't have to do this every year.
Yeah, who knew? When we started, this original ordinance came out of the new government when we first started, and we actually had a dollar amount in there, not thinking about inflation and changes to education. Isn't that shocking? And this still seems low to me, but we'll do it. All right.
I'll have my name added.
Okay, thanks. All right, so can I have a motion to move this one forward? So moved. All in favor? Aye. Okay,
Aye. Madam Chair,
yes.
may I please have my name?
I think
added?
it's on there.
Is it on? Okay.
You co-sponsored me. Thank you. Okay. Finally, we have two presentations. First is Green Infrastructure Grant Program. And
Afternoon, Council.
hello.
My name is Matt Sharver. I'm the Director of Watershed Programs at the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, and we have a brief presentation for you this afternoon on an update of the $1 million grant that the county provided to the district's program. So with that. Oh. Oops. So just a little background on green infrastructure if you're not familiar. Basically, the district's program protects water resources as we try to mimic the natural environment through different green infrastructure practices, weaving resiliency into our infrastructure. And then as we roll this program out, we try to bring about additional multiple benefits to the communities that we touch, including the health of the environment. So the graphic that you see here, the top right and middle photo are common practices of green infrastructure, permeable pavements, and bioretention, what you see across the region. We also have increasing amounts of green roofs in the area, in our service area, and we funded a few of those now under the program. Some unique practices, the upper left is a living wall in the Hingetown area of the city of Cleveland, East 29th Street area. It's actually a living wall where cisterns capture the roof water and then pump that back up to the vegetation that lives on the wall. So it's a very unique green infrastructure piece that we funded under the program. It's been in place since 2014, I believe. So this chart shows you our history of the program, which initiated back in 2014. 2023 is the year that the county provided a complimentary $1 million grant to our overall program, and you can see that year was our largest year of funding at $2.5 million. $13.3 million overall in the program, and we've captured over 36 million gallons annually of stormwater treatment in the district's wastewater service area. And speaking of our wastewater service area, both areas, blue and purple, show the outline of our wastewater service area. The area in purple is the combined sewer area, and so this is where the green infrastructure program is deployed by the sewer district. Those yellow points there are all the different projects that we've funded since 2014 spread across that combined sewer area. The combined sewer area not only encompasses most of the city of Cleveland, but portions or all of 10 communities in the inner ring area of Cuyahoga County. And so just to give a little bit background on the applicants that apply to this program. So member communities of the district's wastewater service area may apply. Government entities such as Cleveland Metro Parks may apply. Nonprofit 501c3s. And then we offer this program to private entities working in partnership with their communities. So this is another effort on the district's behalf to spread the ability for all areas of our service area that produce stormwater runoff to partake in the program to minimize that runoff. And so to give a little more detail on the background of the grants program, so the $1 million was applied to our 2023 round. We broke that into three parts. $625,000 was dedicated or allocated towards our funding round that year. We had another $125,000 that went towards a planning program with the City of Cleveland Office of Sustainability and Cleveland Neighborhood Progress, and I'll speak more to that in a few minutes. And then we had a water resource project, green infrastructure project, underway with the Cleveland Metro Parks for the Garfield Boulevard complete street redo in Garfield Heights. So those were where the monies were allocated. And this just provides a little bit more detail. Unfortunately, the efforts with the Cleveland Neighborhood Progress and the City of Cleveland Office of Sustainability did not bear fruit. So we had come back to council last year and requested that we amend our agreement with the county and move those dollars of $125,000 into the current funding round at that time, which would have been our 2024 funding round. And that amendment did pass, and we did move those funds, and those funds have been reallocated to projects in our standard green infrastructure grants program. And so to date, we've been able to spend out $625,000 from three different projects in that 2023 green infrastructure grant program year. And then we're still working with the Cleveland Metro Parks to finalize our agreement with them for the expenditure of the $250,000 towards what you see on your screen now, the Garfield Boulevard complete and green street that takes from Warner Road on the west to Turney Road on the east, and then that extends on into the Garfield Reservation area of Garfield Heights. And this is just another example of a project that we funded in the past in Newburgh Heights. Back in 2014, this project is still doing its job annually to treat stormwater runoff from East 55th Street and convey that water through this trench drain into a bioretention swale. Just another example in our different communities. This is another example in East Cleveland of permeable pavers. This is something that you typically see now more and more across Northeast Ohio, where we're able to return that stormwater runoff directly back into the landscape. Sure, Councilman.
So this was a private development project?
So this is
the McGregor Seniors?
That's correct.
And so did they apply, the developer, or did the city apply on their behalf?
So the developer applied in concert with the city of East Cleveland, so in partnership.
And how did the developer know? Did the developer just have an idea about permeable pavement and wanted to do the right thing and knew to contact? Like, how did that happen?
They oftentimes do. So we publicize the program across the region. Under the district's code of regulations, we require, in our combined sewer service area, we require developers to do certain measures and practices under code. So the grants program goes above and beyond the stormwater management and combined sewer overflow management that we require. So this is a way that we engage with development community to try to go above and beyond normal practices to meet our codes. So.
Thank you.
On that same picture that the chairwoman brought up, where does that water actually go, and what is it supporting when it comes off that semi-permeable pit? Because I've seen these being utilized a lot of times. Is it going to cistern someplace, or where's it going?
Great question, Councilman. So the permeable pavement systems typically have a gravel sublayer to them and then under drain system. So the pavers themselves have joints between them that allow the water to move between the pavers and then into that gravel layer. And there's different gravel layers that it permeates through and filters out pollutants. And then that's oftentimes then exfiltrated into the virgin soils below. And if the virgin soils can't absorb that fast enough during storm events, there is overflow into the collection system then. But there is an attenuation of flow and a treatment from a water quality standpoint, each rain event that occurs.
Okay, so it's not going into the aquifer, it's going someplace else then?
It could make its way into groundwater, but most our combined system is all city water now, not drinking water aquifers, so that's not a concern from that standpoint.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
Right.
I've been drinking it for 50 years. I've got a well, so I don't have public water. Thanks.
So that's our update for you.
Want to bring that back up? That was your update? Okay.
Yep, that was.
Oh. So where are we with all the funding from the county then? Is it all, can you,
So 625,000 has been expended. There's 250 that's in process with Cleveland Metro Parks for the Garfield Boulevard project, and the remainder is allocated with current agreements under the current funding round. So those monies will be expended this year as the construction schedule continues.
I stepped out, did you have a picture of the Garfield street again? Because I know we saw that last time, I think. That was in the center of the street.
So there's bioretention
Right.
along the right-of-way areas
Oh,
and
that was
infiltration
it.
trenches. Yeah, along the right-of-way of Garfield Boulevard. And that project's just getting underway here in July. So,
And I think we can thank Councilman Miller, who originally brought this right to our attention. Thank you. Good work. All right, well, we appreciate that, and we'll see you
okay.
again.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Finally, well, we should introduce our new chief, right? Janita, for a presentation on sustainability strategy plan. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Chairwoman and to the committee. I guess I should start with a brief introduction, if that's okay. Okay.
Yes,
So my
please.
name is Janita McGowan. I'm the Deputy Chief of Sustainability and Climate here, and I've been here since about April 15th, so still relatively new. Most recently, came from Eaton Corporation, where I was on the corporate sustainability team for 6 years, but I've been in the sustainability field for, I would say, about 15 years now. So I was at the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, and I was also at the City of Cleveland about halfway through the Jackson administration as a sustainability manager at the City of Cleveland and Chief of Sustainability in his cabinet. So it's good to be back in local government. Public service is really important to me, and it's a personal passion of mine. So I think I have a presentation, perhaps. Thank you. So I discovered in my role that the sustainability department needs to submit a sustainability strategy to council about every 5 years per an ordinance. And I think that's a great way for me to step into a new role, is to work on a strategic framework for how Cuyahoga County will continue to be a leader in sustainability over the next 5 years. So what I have for you today is a summary of that strategic framework, which will be submitted in full to County Council very shortly. And I could just take a moment to talk about what underpins this strategy. So I do believe that the county has a really important role in addressing some of the global things that are happening around the world and the local things that are happening in terms of the environment, people's access to a healthy environment, and some of the equity issues around that. We're at an inflection point when it comes to greenhouse gas emissions, when it comes to some of the things that are polluting our water resources, and when it comes to being a resilient community that can really adapt and thrive and be healthy in an area of a warming climate, right? And some of the challenges that go along with that. So this first slide really is the vision, is that we're going to address climate change and we're going to work together to create sustainable, healthy, and resilient county. And I think that's a vision that we all maybe can agree on, that we want to be healthy and resilient, we want to thrive, and that the county has a role in that. There are 3 goals in the strategy. One is around being a steward to creating a healthy environment that does enhance the well-being of our citizens and our visitors. The second goal is around developing the county in a sustainable manner. So, economic development, community development, are we doing that in a way that is enhancing our sustainability? Are we integrating sustainable principles in how we do those things? And then the third goal is around engaging and educating and activating. So both county employees, but our stakeholders out in the community, are we partnering with them? Are we making sure that they have the knowledge they need as we move forward together? So the strategy has 9 focus areas across those 3 goals, with actions underneath each of those and key progress indicators to pay attention to let us know if we're moving in the right direction. If we could go to the next slide, please. Oh, thank you. Look at this. So this is the framework. It's kind of a placemat with those 3 goal areas that I spoke about: healthy environment, sustainable development, and engagement, education, and activating. You'll see across the bottom, there's sort of a cross-cutting initiative, which is the Freshwater Institute, that lines up nicely with those 3 pillars. That'll be part of this strategy moving forward. And, I know you all can read this, so I'm not going to belabor it and kind of go over any detail. But if you have any questions about any of these areas, we can talk about it now today, or I can go through the further slides that kind of delineate the action areas across the 9 focus areas. If there's anything in particular, too, you want me to pay attention to or cover, I'd be happy to do so.
Go ahead, Councilman Miller, I have a question, too.
On the engage, educate, and activate, it says engage and educate county employees. Are we also going to be doing education and engaging of the broader community?
Yes, that is the intention. So let me just go to that slide. So I'm starting with county employees because, they're closest to home. If you think about where you have the most influence and access, it would be our employees, and our employees go out and they engage with constituents across the community. The second kind of tier that is in the strategy is engaging with the municipalities within the county. So talking to them and making sure they have the information they need to engage with their citizens and in the ways that enhance their own sustainability priorities. So ideas that we have that we'll need to vet are, the Inflation Reduction Act. Do our municipalities have the information they need to take this complex thing and make sure their citizens can really get the incentives that they deserve? And in the language that they understand what that's all about, right? That's one example. And then the third one around the freshwater education and research, I think that's really a lot around engaging youth in understanding our freshwater resources and creating a culture of freshwater stewardship and advocacy. Does that, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I just had a question about the buildings on the previous slide. Well, I have it. It says build sustainable buildings. So we're
Yes.
talking about county buildings, right?
Yes. So in that first row there, we're in the first row, kind of first box, enabling infrastructure. It's county buildings, but also if there are opportunities to incentivize green building outside of our own operations, that's also included.
Okay.
That's it.
Anything else? Any questions from committee? Okay. Wait, Councilman Conwell.
Through the chair to Ms. McGowan or Director McGowan. So I know you're new coming on board and things like that. How does the funding for your department line up with your initiatives or your visions that you have?
Yeah, so the sustainability strategy right now, if it's a 5-year strategy, I think currently the department is staffed budget-wise, resource-wise, to move it forward over the next couple years. And I anticipate in the next biennial budget cycle, needing to adjust the org chart to fully resource the strategy. And the full version that you'll receive will have that ideal org chart in there as part of the resource plan.
Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That was such a good question, and we've talked about this, that in order to, go forward, I'm looking for funding more along the lines of people actually, I don't want to call them worker bees, but worker bees, being able to really implement the vision. I mean, this seems consistent across the administration as, high-level positions being paid at the maximum, but instead of funding the actual work that needs to be done, I'm not sure we've been able to close that gap across the administration yet. And I'll be looking at that to make sure that, the work can get done with the appropriate staff levels that needs to happen. Councilman Miller?
So first, I would support the chair's emphasis on being able to do the nuts and bolts blocking and tackling that we need to move forward in this area. And my question is what impacts do you think there would be on our strategy, if any, if we were to have a change of national administration? Or do you think we can operate pretty much independently of that macro environment?
Through the chair to the councilman, I think it would have a big impact should some of the federal incentives and grant programs decline. We have seen major tailwinds as it relates to energy, urban forestry, as it relates to climate equity and resilience coming from the current administration because of the Build Back Better Act and the Inflation Reduction Act and some other things and policies are really accelerating the progress, not only for Cuyahoga County as a government, but for many of our constituents, NGOs, stakeholders, and the municipalities within the county. So I think the impact would be slower progress, more need to devote local government funding to these things if it's available, and even more participation from philanthropy in order to keep up the pace of change. Personally, I do not feel like it's an option to slow down the pace of change on these topics. I think we have to rally and figure out how to keep it up.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any, good question, money that we haven't utilized that might be clawed back if we don't accomplish certain projects? There's still money out there from the federal grants, the infrastructure bill.
To the chairwoman, I think there are some federal funding, federal grants that we are still working on the contracting for, receiving. I don't know personally of anything particularly at risk. I think that's a great question and a review we should do. Many of the incentives are, you do the project and then you get the incentives in the form of a tax credit, and for local government, that looks a little different, but it's, I don't think that's anything in jeopardy because it's hardwired into the tax code, which is a little different than a grant program. So I think those two things have perhaps a different review needed.
Can you do a review of what opportunities, I'm sure you're thinking this, might still be on the table right now, and scurry to get in all the applications possible?
Yes, I think scurrying is our general mode. These things come and go, right? If you recall, in the Obama administration, there was all the EECBG money that came out. I forget what the program was called, but it was millions and millions of dollars that went through for energy efficiency work, and it was such a windfall for sustainability programs and local government around the country, and then it stopped, and things slowed down for a while. And I think we are at an inflection point when it comes to sustainability and needing to keep up the pace and the progress. And so I think a review is really important. The scurrying is essential.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our word for the day, scurry. And the grants in the big federal grant for the solar in Lake County or what's pending now? Tell me what's pending.
Okay, so this is, Cuyahoga Green Energy's program, the utility under Public Works, which I have been made aware of, but I don't directly run. So I will do my best to answer your question.
What other grants, though? Not utility grants. Is that it? Do you know yet?
So there is a CPRG grant that it will be funding our greenhouse gas inventory and climate action planning efforts coming up. That's in collaboration with the City of Cleveland and NOACA. We're a sub-grantee to that. So that is one grant that is pending for the Sustainability Department. Yeah.
The rest has been shifted to utility.
Correct.
Okay, so committee knows that there's been a division of sustainability only in terms of an org chart, not in terms of working together, and utility went over to Public Works, which is Mike Foley and Valerie. Is Valerie migrated yet?
She's still like 50-50.
Okay.
So I'm fortunate to get to continue to work with her directly for a little while longer.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for the update. And when do you want to come back with the full plan?
It's slated to be introduced July 16th,
Got
and
it.
so you will have it prior
Committee.
to that.
Great, thank you so much for a preview. Okay.
My understanding is that there was a major tree canopy application to the federal government as part of the federal program. And do you know what the status of that is?
Yes, I do. So prior to me joining the county joined in with the City of Cleveland, the Cleveland Tree Coalition, and some other organizations on a large request via the U.S. Forest Service for Inflation Reduction Act grant funding, and we did not receive that grant. However, the city and some of the stakeholders were invited to reapply, and we did at a smaller ask. And we just heard yesterday that we did receive grant funding for a tree canopy work within the county. The county's portion of that is $125,000. So to allow us to do more tree planting.
And what's the total amount?
I just heard this number yesterday, and it was to the tune of, I think, $3 million over 5 years.
Okay.
But most of that is going to other organizations working on tree canopy equity, including tree maintenance and street tree inventories, which is critically important work as well as the planting.
Well, it sounds like a very positive development. I think the thing we've really needed is a more coordinated program throughout the region, and I think this is moving us in that direction, as I understand it.
I think collaboration is essential. Yeah.
So Janita, the 125 will go toward our existing tree program at the county, correct? That will
Correct.
fund that?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some restrictions on it in terms of it being allocated towards low canopy areas per the federal government. Yeah.
All right. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Good to
having
see you.
me.
Thanks
Nice
for
to
being
see you.
here.
You're welcome.
We look forward to working with you.
Likewise.
Thanks. Okay, I think that's it for today, everybody. We appreciate you hanging in here for a long meeting, but